So hello, everyone. My name is Ann Campbell. I'm the department head for the Department of Business Analytics at the Tippie College of Business at the University of Iowa. I am also the Tippie Research Professor of Business Analytics. I feel so honored to be here today as one of the 2021 UPS Smith Prize competition finalists. I am so excited to tell you about our department and our programs that help prepare students to be good practitioners of analytics. Here with me today are three representatives from our various programs. Lindsay Peters is here from our full-time Masters in Business Analytics. Zach Vaglis is from our part-time Masters in Business Analytics. And Nani Chapa is here from our undergraduate program in Business Analytics and Information Systems. Because we were doing this via Zoom, I did recorded presentations from each of the three students that you will see within this presentation, but all three here should be here for the live Q&A. Before I get started telling you about our department and our programs, I want to introduce you to our dean, Amy Christoph Brown.
Hello, I'm Amy Christoph Brown, Dean of the Henry B. Tippie College of Business at the University of Iowa. We are so honored to be among the finalist schools competing for the UPS George D. Smith Prize by Informs. The University of Iowa was founded in 1847 and is the oldest institution of higher learning in the state. We're located about 60 miles west of the Mississippi River and 120 miles east of Des Moines. As Hawkeyes, we have a proud tradition of bringing together the best that science and the arts have to offer. As an institution, we are perhaps best known for the world-renowned Iowa Writers' Workshop, which has produced 29 Pulitzer Prizes and numerous National Book Awards. In the Tippie College of Business, we've capitalized on this dedication for communication by making it a core element of our curriculum. Recently ranked by U.S. News as the #1 public university for writing in the disciplines, the Tippie College of Business has infused communication across our 6 majors for over 4,000 undergraduate students and over 1,200 graduate students. Communications may not be the first thing that you consider when you think of departments of analytics, but that is one of the things that makes Tippie's Business Analytics department so unique. Our faculty experts in data science, social networks, machine learning, optimization, statistics, transportation, operations, and supply chain have created a curriculum that couples these analytic skills with instruction on how to effectively communicate solutions. Students work on live company cases that require them to draw on their deep analytic skill set and present findings and recommendations in ways that are compelling to their clients. This approach has made business analytics the fastest growing major in the college and the fastest growing part-time and full-time Masters of Science program at the University of Iowa. We're so proud of all this department has accomplished and are excited for you to hear more about their approach and accomplishments today.
So thank you, Amy. Next, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we have tried to be very thoughtful in the way we prepare our students to be practitioners. Our first guiding principle is that we try to give undergraduate and graduate students a solid technical degree in analytics and operations research. That's why all programs cover topics such as database management, information visualization, and optimization modeling. I will cover the basics of the curriculum for these programs in the first part of my presentation. Our second guiding principle is that feedback and engagement with industry is key. So we discuss all major curriculum decisions with our advisory council, and all of our students get real-world experience via capstone projects. I will discuss the council and our capstones in the second part of this presentation. Our third guiding principle, as you heard from Dean Christoph Brown, is that we try to create storytellers with data. We firmly believe it is important to develop writing and presentation skills along with technical skills. We have found that employers really appreciate this distinction. I will discuss how we develop undergraduate and graduate communication skills in the third part of our presentation. After I discuss all of our programs, I want to spend a little time discussing some of our special events and initiatives. These include the Women in Analytics Leadership Conference and the Graduate Business Analytics Case Competition. I also want to talk a little bit about some of the pivots we have done due to the pandemic and what we would like to do with the prize money if we are lucky enough to win the Smith Prize. The heart of our department is our faculty. On this slide are the 28 members of our faculty consisting of both tenure track faculty and lectures, and they span the spectrum of different topics in analytics. Our faculty's research is highly regarded and frequently cited. We like to say that our department was doing analytics research before it was cool. We also benefit from a wonderful set of adjunct faculty in the corporate sector. Our department clearly spans the range of descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. On this slide is just an example of the diversity of topics covered in our department. Tong Wang is an assistant professor in our department who studies interpretable machine learning. Kurt Anstreicher, who is an Informs Fellow and shared faculty member in our department, studies mathematical optimization. And Jen Blackhurst is a full professor in our department who studies supply chain risk. So with this faculty, it was natural to develop an undergraduate and graduate program in analytics. We not only wanted to be thought leaders in analytics research, but become thought leaders in analytics education. So over the last 10 years, we have developed very fast-growing undergraduate and graduate programs. So Patrick Fan, who, as you see here, is the latest addition to our faculty. He joined our department in 2018 as the Tippy Excellence Chair in Business Analytics. I asked Patrick if he was willing to tell us a little bit about why he was happy to join our faculty.
The research quality of my department is very, very strong. And if you look at the vidas of all the faculty members we have, and everyone is super, super productive. And they are well known in their own fields. They attend all the major conferences every year, and they keep publishing in the top elite journals. And the most important thing, they maintain the diversity of the department. So you can see that we have faculty members with expertise in almost every major analytic area, such as operation management, transportation research, and optimization, and math programming, and also computer science, AI, healthcare informatics, all that stuff. So to me, the quality of research is unparallelable. So I'm very happy to be part of this family member, and then I can contribute myself to this growth of the College of Business.
So I really like it that Patrick calls our department a family because we think of ourselves as a family as well. So our department has several different programs. We have an undergraduate program in business analytics and information systems that we often call BAIS for short. We have a master's in business analytics that we offer at a part-time and full-time basis. And we also offer a certificate program that I will discuss in a little bit. We also offer a PhD in business analytics. For the sake of this presentation, I'm going to focus on the undergrad and master's level programs and not talk about the PhD program. I'm going to start with talking about our undergraduate program. And as an example here, we have a picture of several of our undergraduates at the end of a successful analytics case competition. Our undergraduate degree began in just 2013, and it has experienced rapid enrollment growth since then. In fact, in 2019, we became the second largest major in our college, second to finance. And this year we had a slight drop in enrollment due to COVID, but already this spring, the enrollment is back to over 400 students. As I mentioned, our first guiding principle in the development of our programs is that we want to give students a solid technical degree. Our undergraduate degree covers the fundamentals of business analytics, but it also covers topics in information systems such as database management. Our employers that we work with and hire our students have indicated that they want our students to have a nice breadth of knowledge. We have tweaked our model several times since 2013, and this is our newest model, giving you the latest. We used to have multiple tracks, and we revised our plan to what we call one major flexible electives. All of our students take the 5 technical courses highlighted here in blue. They take a database management course, which covers the design of databases and introduces them to tools such as SQL. They take a computational thinking course, which introduces them to the logic of programming, and we use Python in that course. They take a course in data wrangling, where they learn how to process, manipulate, and visualize data. And then they take a data mining class, which goes into the ideas of classifying and clustering data to be able to do predictive analytics. And to the right is our 5th technical course, which is our capstone course, where students apply these skills in a real world setting. Students are also required to take a 1-credit career professional prep course, which I will discuss later in our presentation. But besides these courses in blue, the students are allowed to choose 2 electives. This allows them to customize their degree to the career path they're interested in. So for example, for our students who are a little more interested in the IT side of analytics, they can take a course in cloud computing. If they are interested really in the hardcore business analytics, they can take a class in optimization and simulation modeling. Many of our students actually double major in BAIS and another major in the college. So for example, if you have a student whose double major is in accounting, it makes sense for them to take an elective in accounting information systems. We continually are updating our electives, given what changes are happening in the job market and what our advisory council tells us our graduates need. I have asked Mike Colbert, who is the director of our undergraduate program, to talk about the latest changes we have been making in our electives.
Yeah, so we've got 4 electives that we're really excited about. The first is cloud computing, and it's using AWS and Azure, Amazon Web Services and Azure. It's still those, like the foundational data communication principles like IP addressing and things like that, but now we're applying them to in a modern environment that they're going to find when they leave here. We have another one called business process automation. And in business process automation, they will look at the business processes, they'll learn how to map them out, they'll look for opportunities for automation, and then we'll use, right now we're going to use Excel VBA to do that automation and help, help speed up those processes and clean them up. The other one is digital project management. So this is going to be an agile course. So we're going to use Agile to teach Agile, so it'll be a little different modality for them. But with this, we're just looking to make sure they know the basics of things like extreme programming and Scrum and stuff like this that they might encounter when they leave. And our last one is cybersecurity. And in cybersecurity, we're looking for this broad, general information security, digital security, cybersecurity, whatever domain that is applicable to everyone. So it's not going to be like the minute details of firewall rules and things like that, but it's going to be more broadly applicable.
All right, thank you, Mike. So with these skills, our undergraduate students can go into a variety of different jobs in the market. A recent survey of graduates revealed 277 unique job titles for one graduating class. On the right are just a few examples of the titles our students get when they are hired. Things like applications analyst, analytics coordinator, data science intern, data analyst. Our students have had consistently high job placement rates. Typically, accounting and insurance firms have hired the largest number of our undergraduates. Next, I want to introduce you to our master's program. I want to start with our part-time masters in business that we started in 2015. Our part-time masters truly serves the state of Iowa by offering classes to working professionals in 3 locations. These include Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, and Davenport. I have put them on a map of Iowa in case you do not happen to know where these 3 particular cities are. But Iowa City is located where the university is just south of Cedar Rapids. So typically our faculty travel to these locations once a week for 11 weeks over the course of a semester. But during COVID, all of these classes moved online. Students take 10 courses to complete this master's. They're able to take them at their own pace, so time to completion varies quite a bit. I mentioned earlier we have a certificate program that is simply the first 5 courses in our master's. Some students choose just to get the certificate, and some people take the certificate as an add-on to a master's in business, to a part-time MBA. So our part-time program has also had rapid growth. In this graph, I show the enrollment combining the 3 cities together, where the yellow represents the enrollment in our certificate program and the white bars represent the enrollment in our part-time program. As you can see, the part-time program has had rapid growth since 2015. We now have many more part-time students than certificate students, but the 2 programs combined have over 500 students. Last, I want to introduce you to our full-time program, which is also our most recent launch. It was established in 2017. It is an on-campus program in Iowa City with a cohort of approximately 50 students, plus or minus, that start every fall. The program is designed to be completed in 3 semesters, including 1 summer internship. In our program, students become decision makers in data science, adept at using predictive and prescriptive analytics to solve business problems and communicate the solutions. What we have found to be interesting is that many of the students who have chosen to join our full-time master's program, a lot of them are also interested in our full-time master's in finance, which was also launched in 2017. So we have a joint program between the 2 departments, and students can complete both masters with 4 semesters of coursework. So the full-time and part-time program have essentially the same curriculum. They both utilize a 5-course technical core, and these are the 5 courses that yield the certificate. Both programs are designed for career switchers, so they may or may not have a background in analytics, but want to focus on that in their next career. So the curriculum starts with an introductory course, which we refer to as data and decisions. After that, students take courses such as data management and visual analytics, where they learn about databases and visualization using tools such as SQL and Tableau. Students have a choice in the classes they take to introduce them to programming using data. They can take it in R or in Python. Other classes in the core include advanced analytics, where students learn things such as regression, forecasting, integer programming, and data science, where they're introduced to the concepts of data mining, including classification and clustering methods. For the students to complete the master's degree, there's also a few more things to do. One of the things they must do is take a semester-long course involving a real-world project with a company, which we refer to as the analytics experience. They must also take 4 electives, 2 of which that are in the set in our department. And I think the electives here is really where you see our undergraduate and master's degree really diverge. Our undergraduate degree really more spans a breadth of knowledge, where our master's degree is more of a deep dive into analytics and its applications. You can see that here with the electives being things like text analytics, social media analytics, big data management, applied optimization, and healthcare analytics. So Lindsay Peters, who should be here, is one of our students who was one of the early graduates of our full-time Masters in Business Analytics. I have asked her why she chose our full-time Masters in Business Analytics and how she thinks this program benefited her career.
I chose to do the full-time business and analytics program at Iowa because I had already done my undergraduate here a few years earlier and really knew that with the Tippie College of Business that I would be learning from a set of faculty that were not only really passionate about their areas of study, but really invested in student success. I think the really obvious answer is that it was packed full of really technical skills that really let me hit the ground running on day one. But the real benefit from the curriculum that has given me the most growth in my career was actually instilling the understanding that business analytics is so much more than just the technical components. It's also the business side of things, really understanding the business, the problem at hand, and why it matters, and then how to effectively communicate that back to the business stakeholders.
So Lindsay, I see, is here. Hi, Lindsay. She will be here for the Q&A for any questions you have for her about our full-time Masters in Business Analytics. So as I mentioned, our second guiding principle is really feedback and engagement with industry. Part of that is definitely our capstone projects that I have mentioned exist at the undergraduate and master's level. I'm excited to tell you more about them and give you a couple of really exciting examples of these projects. What I really like about the capstone is that these are real projects, giving students to have the opportunity to have real impact using the skills that they have learned in their programs. We are very proud at Tippie that our department is the only one within our college that requires every student to complete a capstone project before they graduate. So that leads to 40 to 50 capstone projects per year, just at the undergraduate level. So that keeps our capstone instructors very busy organizing and running those. I am every year amazed by the diversity of topics and industries covered by our teams. We have worked on projects with insurance companies, gas stations, hospitals, airlines, and even recently a project with wine growers. As you know, the applications for analytics are just completely endless. At the undergraduate level, just to give you an example of how it works there, our capstone projects last 16 weeks. The first 4 weeks are devoted to developing project management skills and learning tools such as Trello to help them stay on track through the project. The students also develop a plan of work. Over the projects, students meet with representatives from the company throughout the course, usually via Zoom. Projects are completed after 11 weeks, and at that point, students meet with their clients to present their results, usually in person, but of course this year that changed to being completely via Zoom. With our location in Iowa, as you can imagine, most of our capstone projects generally involve companies in the Midwest, in Iowa and Chicago, but we have had some recent really cool exceptions to that due to the relationship between the Tippie College of Business and the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program for Young African Leaders. Carly Strathman, pictured here, is one of our recent graduates who was involved with a capstone project that was centered in Botswana that involved one of these Mandela Fellows. I have asked her to tell you a little bit about her exciting project.
Uzima RX was the name of the application that we developed for our capstone project. So what Uzima RX is a web-based application that handles inventory tracking management for a pharmacy in Botswana, Africa. And we left a little before the end of the winter semester in 2019. When we got there, we were introduced to Rapula in person versus virtual via Zoom. And here we were able to kind of go into the pharmacy and see what we were working with. As soon as we got there, we started counting the inventory of all of the drugs that we had, so that our database was up to date with the correct information. And then we worked to make sure that the app was going to be up and running and trained the staff. This was something that coming in, kind of deciding my major, when I saw senior year I'd be taking a capstone class, I never would have pictured that a real life case study class would have taken me all the way to Africa. I thought that it was such an amazing tool to have to say, for my first 3 years at the university, I've learned all of these skills. In my 4th year, I'm going to put them into play. And I think that the capstone project did a great job of really letting us students show what we've learned throughout our years at the university.
I have a few photos to share with you of the group's trip to Africa, including a map to remind you where Botswana is. Included in the pictures are a few of the pharmacy itself where they were launching their app. And I want to mention the instructor of the class is Christy Walker, who is a lecturer in our department who had over 35 years of experience in healthcare IT before joining us as a lecturer and capstone instructor. So we're very, very lucky to have people like her coordinate efforts like this for us. Since many of our part-time students are working professionals, they often have a data-related project that they want to do for their capstone based on where they work. A perfect example of this is Zach Faglis, who is a part-time master's student who took classes out of Des Moines. He worked at the VA, and as part of his work with the VA last year, Zach became interested in figuring out if there were any contributing factors that led to particularly bad cases of COVID-19. So I've asked him to discuss both his project and how participating in this program has affected his career.
We took a number of features. So demographic information, patient age, weight, BMI, those types of things. Combine those with chronic conditions that we know about patients. So do they have, chronic diabetes? Do they have renal disease? Do they have things like that, cardiovascular disease? And then also introduced other modalities as well, such as pharmaceutical polypharmacy information. So what prescriptions were these patients on when they contracted COVID? Was their diabetes well managed? Things like that represented by different lab values and vital sign data. We took all of that and we looked at those patients that have had severe infection or mortality and those that didn't. And what we figured out is that we could, those features combined together are a strong predictor in understanding and assessing risk for patients, predicting risk. That we were very successful at doing that. But what we uncovered during this master's capstone course was that aspirin actually played a significant role in reducing severe infection and mortality for patients of older age and with more chronic conditions when matched up using what's called propensity matching with patients of similar age and health status. So that's something that we found along the way that is also now published and peer-reviewed. Completed the program through the campus in Des Moines, but the quality of the education was top-notch, and I do feel like I went from that clinical informatics role to now I'm in a data scientist role, really, which I feel like has opened the doors and given me the tools and the education that I needed to really change healthcare, and I do attribute that back to this program.
So I want to point out, Zach said it very quietly near the end, that his results from his capstone project were in a peer-reviewed journal. That is so cool. And his result about the impact of an aspirin regimen has also been picked up in the media. So that's been a really great example of something that happens in our capstone classes. So Zach is here. Say hi, Zach. He is here to represent our part-time program, and so you'll be able to ask Zach any questions you have for him during the Q&A. As I have mentioned, a big part of our engagement with industry is through our TIPI Analytics Cooperative Advisory Council, which we refer to simply as our TAC, because that's a mouthful. Our TAC is definitely a set of business leaders sharing their time and expertise with us. Our TAC has been growing over time. We currently have 18 members from companies that hire business analytics graduates. These include companies like John Deere, Transamerica, ACT, State Farm, EY, PwC, and a REIT. In fact, we have an invitation out to the vice president of Heineken, so maybe next week we'll have 19 members in the TAC. Our members in the TAC often hold titles such as Chief Data Scientist or Chief Analytics Officer. We think that is important so they know what's going on in the analytics space in their companies. We involve our TAC with several decisions and aspects of our department, but the most critical is their reviews of our curriculum. We want to make choices that prepare our students for the job market, but also help them be successful when they are practitioners. I want to give you just a couple of specific examples of how we work with our TAC. Our programming class for undergraduates, we initially delivered that in R, and the TAC told us, no, that has to be in Python. And so we switched it to that. A more recent example is a couple weeks ago, I met with our TAC during our spring meeting. I talked to them about these short courses I plan to launch this summer, and they gave me a laundry list of about 40 topics that they would like on future short courses. In a nutshell, we find our council's feedback to be extremely valuable. We usually follow their advice, such as we did with Python. The council's feedback has definitely shaped our offerings in numerous ways that we think have brought a lot of benefit to our students. So Chuck Mersch is a Hawkeye who works for Transamerica and has been an active member of the TAC for several years. I have asked Chuck to tell you a little bit about what being on the TAC has done for him or what value it brings him.
One of the great experiences on the advisory council is being able to have an impact on the curriculum that is being taught. The tools and skill sets are always changing in the analytics field as it is a fast-growing occupation. Having the ability to have students that are using the most up-to-date tools and skills has been great for when the students join our organization. I really find valuable my experience on the council where I'm able to partner with other business leaders, learn from them, and see what's going on in different sets of industries. In addition, meeting students and potential interns and full-time employees has been a great reward that I get when I attend the advisory council meetings.
So Chuck is a graduate of our MBA program at Iowa, and he had won our Tax Engagement Award in 2020 to show you how active he is with our TAC. So the third driving principle of our programs has been the emphasis on the development of communication skills. I have mentioned this a little bit several times throughout the presentation, and Dean Christoph Brown mentioned this at the beginning. I really think this third driving principle has come to be our major differentiator with other schools. As Dean Christoph Brown mentioned, we had an initiative a few years ago to integrate communication skills into all 6 majors in the College of Business. But at the same time, we were getting an equally big push to emphasize communication skills from our TAC. Many of our members regularly express frustration with the students they are hiring from a variety of schools not being able to express themselves well. Our TAC really emphasized that they wanted data-savvy professionals who can work the numbers to draw conclusions, but also be able to clearly communicate the results. So let's talk about how we have done that. So at the undergraduate level, we needed to weave the development of these communication skills into our undergraduate curriculum. So at the undergraduate level, There's specific courses throughout the curriculum have specific assignments that are designated to emphasize either written, oral, or visualization skills. Then we've adopted a common rubric that we apply to all of these assignments, so the same ideas are reinforced over and over again throughout the curriculum. Last, we hired consultants from the Frank Center, which is our in-house writing center, to grade the larger writing and presentation assignments so we can do this well without creating too large of a burden on our faculty. We are always tweaking with this a little bit, but it seems to be working well due to the feedback we are getting from our employers. For example, just a couple weeks ago, I was talking with a manager from RSM about something else, and she said she could really notice the difference in the communication skills of our graduates. So I was very proud to hear that. At the full-time master's level, we can do things a little bit differently due to the smaller scale in terms of the number of students. Our innovation there is we pair a 1 credit hour business communication course with 2 of our technical courses. The idea there is if a student can take an analytics course, and once they complete a particular assignment, they can learn how to tell the story of the results of their assignment in their business communication course. So we do this a couple of times, once in the first semester of the 3-semester program, and again during that 3rd semester with a different course right before they graduate. So Nick Westergaard teaches these business communication 1 credit hour courses for us. And so I've asked him to tell you a little bit about them and how they create success.
You know, there's so much of what we do that is simply sharing the results of what we found as opposed to the story that that's telling us. So our work is really about isolating what that story is and then helping our students tell it with confidence. And we know firsthand from our students that are going out there that they're getting jobs because of the presentations that they're making. We do elevator pitches, and we actually had a student who was in an elevator with someone and ended up getting a meeting, getting an interview, and eventually a job as a result of an elevator pitch. So they still happen.
Thanks, Nick. So many colleges and schools offer a professional development course that discusses resumes and interview skills, but our department is one of the few that offers professional development courses at the major specific level for undergraduates and master's students. This allows these professional development courses to focus on more industry-specific information. As the slide indicates, a lot of the ideas for these courses came from our advisory council. For our undergraduates, these professional prep courses now begin quite early in the major, so they can learn about potential career opportunities in the fields of business analytics and information systems. And they can also learn how to position themselves for success in those careers. That includes things like learning what kind of interviews people do for jobs in analytics, and preparing professional portfolios using tools such as GitHub so they can show some of the programming assignments they've done in their technical courses. For our MSBA students, we are able to do this at a little broader scope because we teach this course in 2 semesters. Students learn again about careers and interviewing and resumes, but they're also able to cover a variety of additional topics that you'll hear about soon. These include things like how to grow a professional network and current trends in business analytics. I want to emphasize, though, before we hear more from the instructor of these classes, how important and what an important role these courses play in the development of the communication skills of our students, Because of the focus on interviewing and preparing for interviews, these courses play a very important role in developing those skills. So I have asked Chris Arns, a lecturer in my department who teaches both of these professional development classes, to give you a little more detail about each of them. And I've also asked her to point out a few of the ideas that came specifically from our advisory council.
One of the classes that I teach is the undergrad Business Analytics and Information Systems Professional Preparation course, also known as ProPrep. That course is really designed as a way for students to be able to learn a lot about their careers. They get ready for interviews, and it really takes them on the entire spectrum of starting with what is the curriculum of the program all the way through, okay, what do I do once I start my career? Also, we've done some additional work in case interviews, and that has also come from the TAC, because what we're seeing is that companies are really looking to be able to see how do students communicate? How do they problem solve? How do they storytell, right? These are all of those add-on things that are beyond thinking about this technical, oh, I'm learning how to program and I'm learning how to model in analytics. But I like to call those unicorn skills that companies are looking for. They want to see problem solvers. They want to see storytellers. And so we've listened to what the TAC has had to say and added those components into this class as well. So our master's program, so this is our full-time master's program, we developed, and I'm really excited to say that I've had the opportunity to be able to develop a one-year curriculum for that program. So the idea behind our MSBA Professional Development and Business Acumen course, which is kind of a mouthful, is for us to be able to really think about the depth and breadth of skills that a master's student should be able to bring to a company as they are as a new professional. The way the class is structured is it's really set up as a one-year curriculum. And what's great about it is that we start off with some of the basics. So we still learn about the coding interviews and technical interviews, but then we add in all of these other components that you might not get in the classroom. So for example, we do a fair amount of work on data ethics, data security. We look at additional tools in the industry. So we go beyond the tools that are taught in our classroom and look at other ones that students may want to explore as they go.
Okay. So now that I've covered really the three major principles of our programs, I want to talk last about a couple of the special events that we hold every year in our department. One of those is the Women in Analytics Leadership Conference. This conference emerged when a few years ago, we saw a number of undergraduate students start to dip a little bit. We polled them, and a lot of them said they really needed to see more role models in analytics. So thus our conference was born in 2019. So at that conference in 2019, there was lots of panels and presentations from women speakers covering topics such as how to develop your personal brand. Our 2020 conference was canceled due to COVID, but in 2021, we are holding our first virtual Women in Analytics Leadership Conference. It will actually be held next Friday, and the keynote speaker will be Carrie Nelson, the Chief Strategy Officer from Clarivate. So right after we held our first walk conference in 2019, EY stepped up and said that they would like to sponsor the next one. So I thought it would be interesting to ask Brandon Miller from EY why EY was so willing to step in and sponsor an event like the Women in Analytics Leadership Conference.
EY was very excited to sponsor and get involved in the Women's Analytics and Leadership Conference with the Tippy College of Business, being a very key school that we recruit from annually. The Women's Analytics and Leadership Conference aligns to one of our core missions, which is to encourage girls and women to enter, remain, and thrive in the world of technology, whether that's to learn, to work, or to innovate.
And then the second major event we hold each year is the Graduate Business Analytics Case Competition. We are one of the few schools that hold an analytics case competition, and we're one of the even fewer that hold it where it goes from a variety of different industries each year. It's covered topics such as healthcare to airlines to manufacturing. On the left here is Henry Tippie, who is our college's namesake, who attended the competition one year, and I believe that's Lindsay Peters right next to him. The event is held every spring. The competition allows teams from around the globe to come together and dive into a real world data set and do analysis and create recommendations that they present to a panel of industry expert judges. And the panel of industry expert judges provides feedback to all teams. So I have asked Chris Arns, who not only teaches our prep class, but also runs the case competition, to tell us just a little bit about the case competition and what makes it helpful for our students.
When it comes to our case competition, I am so excited to say that we have teams that come back every single year. We've had teams that have told us they feel we are the gold standard for case competitions. It's an honor that we really we cherish. We want to be the gold standard of case competitions. We want to showcase how great our analytics program is. And, you know, one of the things we hear as well is from students that are looking at our program. They recognize the case competition as a differentiator that not all schools have. And we're just really proud to be able to offer an opportunity like this. Our Iowa students in particular really benefit from this case competition because it gives them a way to be able to see in really a live way how a data case in a business problem is organized, how it's solved.
Oh, sorry. Was trying to get to our wrap up. So since we are getting close on time, I'm just going to wrap up the last few slides. I wanted to let you know that our fifth competition was virtual. We had it last Friday, and it was based on a case provided by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on the topic of vaccine distribution. So it was a very timely topic. And the last thing I wanted to mention was how we pivoted during COVID, because so many students lost very important internships that they were looking forward to. So we created our own homegrown internships within the department, doing projects such as analyzing our alumni data and things like that. Nani Chapa, who is here, was a participant in one of these homegrown internships for us. So she was able to still get real world experience, even though her regular internship was canceled.
Yeah, so cool.
And then the last thing I wanted to mention was what we like to do if we are lucky enough to win the Smith Prize. Our money will go towards a 2-day workshop for PhD students and postdocs to help them prepare for the academic job market. Our idea is simply that if we can put more women and people from underrepresented groups in academic positions, they can serve as role models for students. This can diversify the major and then eventually the industry. So we think this is sort of a win-win for everyone. We initially planned to launch this in 2020, but it was of course canceled due to COVID. So I will just wrap up. The themes of our department is that we try to give all of our students a solid technical degree. We believe feedback from industry is key, and we try to develop storytellers with data. I hope you also see we try to address student needs, such as during COVID, and we are also very supportive of diversity through events such as the Women in Analytics Leadership Conference and our idea for the future BA Prof workshop.